Hi, this is Brian. Welcome back to Philosopher's Notes TV. Today, another great book, The 5 Major Pieces to the Life Puzzle by Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was one of the world's leading self-development teachers in the 20th century. One of the most influential guys in the movement, inspired modern teachers like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Mark Victor Hansen, a bunch of people like that. We have a Philosopher's Note with a bunch of my favorite big ideas. 5 here we're going to discuss now. First one is your life philosophy. So the first puzzle, major piece to the life puzzle, is your life philosophy. Do you have a life philosophy? What is it? What's your life philosophy? Do you have one? That's what we're doing in all these episodes. What I'm so excited about is to share all these different big ideas from great teachers, demonstrate how they're saying a lot of the same things in different ways, and help you create your own philosophy. A map of what works for you, your values, the practices that when you engage in them lead to higher levels of happiness. That's all we're doing here, is creating our own optimal life philosophy. So what's yours? Out of all the things we've discussed, what really resonates with you? Start keeping track and start seeing that, wow, when I do this, this happens. I feel better. When I do that, other things happen that I'm not so excited about. And create a coherent life philosophy. It's a huge idea. That's the first one that Jim talks about in this great book. Second big idea, 86,400. 86,400. So, in a given day, we have 24 hours, we have 1,440 minutes, and we have 86,400 ticks of the clock. 86,400 ticks of the clock. Jim tells us, use those wisely. Once they've gone, they're gone. We take it for granted, but there's not an infinite number of those moments left in our lives. We talked about Og Mandino, who said, treat people as if they're going to be dead at midnight and live as if you would be dead at midnight. We want to hold the fact that our lives are finite in our consciousness at some level. Not to stress ourselves out, but to remind ourselves that we're not guaranteed anything beyond this moment right now. The Toltec warrior, old school, Carlos Castaneda talked about them. They were so committed to making the last moment of their life. They would refuse to end their life in doing anything other than their best, being impeccable. Now, they didn't know when their last moment was going to come, so they made sure that every moment was impeccable. That's how we want to live. 86,400 ticks a day. We're asleep for a lot of them, but for those moments that we're awake, how do we bring the best to ourselves? In The Tools, great book we talk about every now and again, the 5th tool is what they call jeopardy. It's to bring attention to the need to be present and to use willpower to step forward into growth. So imagine the jeopardy music playing in your head. I'll spare you my rendition of that. But you know what I'm talking about, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, right? The Jeopardy music playing, letting the contestants in this game of Jeopardy know that they have a very limited amount of time to come up with their final Jeopardy answer. Well, same with us. That music is playing in our lives, whether we want to hear it or not. Pay attention, do what needs to get done in this moment. Live with arte, step forward into growth. 86,400 ticks. 1,440 minutes, 24 hours in a day. They're precious. Let's treat them like that. Next big idea. Rohn tells us we want to finish before we start. Finish before you start? Yeah. Have a clear sense of what your ideal outcome is. Know what you want to see in your life. Everything is created twice. Whether it's the computer you're watching this on, or your smartphone, or this shirt, or that chalkboard, anything in our lives was designed in the mind of the individuals who were going to create it, and then it was brought into life. We want to finish in our minds with our ideal vision before we start. Know where you're headed. The strangest secret. We become what we think about. What are you thinking about? You want to think about your goals. Earl Nightingale tells us again and again and again, focus on what you want. Bring that to life. Finish before you start. Huge idea. The fourth big idea is one of Jim Rohn's most kind of famous ideas. I called it pain weights. He says, look, you're going to need to pay a price in pain one way or another throughout your life. The question is, are you going to pay it in ounces of pain or in tons of pain? Now, if you do the little things you need to do throughout the day, whether you feel like it or not, it's not always fun. Oftentimes, it's actually not that pleasant. Sometimes you could say it's even painful to do the right thing, to stop yourself from doing the negative thing. He says that's like paying in ounces. It's not that big of a deal, but a little bit of ounces of pain here and there to get yourself to do the right thing. You do that, you've paid your dues. You've paid your pain in ounces. But if you don't step forward into growth, if you don't have the discipline and the willingness to pay in the little things via ounces, at the end of your life, you're going to look back and you're going to repay all that in tons. You could have paid it ounces and ounces and ounces at a time. No big deal. But if you don't pay it in the little disciplines, you will pay it in regret. Tons of pain at the end of your life. Something to keep in mind. Not to be stressed out, but to realize I don't want that. I'm willing to do what I need to do now to pay a little bit now so I don't have that pain of regret weighing over me in tons at the end of my life. Pain weights. How do you want to pay? I choose ounces. Ticking clocks. This brings us back to this idea. 86,400 ticks. Rohn tells us that for some weird reason, our comfort zone, when we're playing in our comfort zone, it's like it makes us deaf. We can't hear things, particularly these ticks. It's like we think we're going to live forever. And we need to wake up and realize we're not. Wake up to those ticking clocks. Hear the Jeopardy music and go out when it's get done what needs to get done. There you go. Quick look at the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. 5 of my favorite big ideas. Here are the clocks. 86,400 ticks. How are you using them? Use them wisely so you're paying in discipline, weighed in ounces, not in regret, weighed in tons. Start before you, or finish before you start. See what you want to have, live from that place, and then go do what needs to get done. And create your life philosophy. This is huge. What are your truths, and are you living in integrity with them? 2 steps. You've got to know them. You can't even be out of integrity if you don't even spend enough time thinking about what's important to you, right? That's a higher state of being, just to even be out of integrity by knowing what's good for you and then whether or not you're doing it. But the reality is you do know. You want to make it conscious. Take the time, turn off everything else, and figure out what's important to you, and then go live in integrity with that philosophy. There you go. Quick look at this great book. Hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. What was the idea that landed? How can you make that a bigger part of your life? Think about that. Get on it. And I'll see you soon. Have another awesome day. See you.